We got our Cub reporter, as I like to call him, Nick Kosko, in the house. That's an old school term, old school journalism term. I don't know if they used that since the 60s.
Never even heard of it before, actually.
Well, you're in your 20s, so you wouldn't. But it's kind of what you call a rookie reporter. So he's kind of cutting his teeth. He's a sophomore at Rutgers, getting some journalistic experience, and we're getting him out there covering some games for Glory Days Magazine, doing some feature stories, that kind of thing. Nick, talk a little bit about Egg Harbor Township. Did you see the opening game against Atlantic City?
I did get a chance to. I got a chance to listen to it last week, and I forget whoever was doing the play-by-play for 94-3 last week actually did use that Periscope app in the second half. So
nice.
I was able to get a small view at it from afar from the press box. But they obviously when they sparked the comeback last week, they looked great. That's the type of team I expect them to have most of the season, with the ability to score points at will and simply take over a game.
Now, is EHT for real? Putting you on the spot here. You might get a call from Coach Kevin Stetson later on today, depending on how you answer this question.
Judging by last week, they look like it, and obviously, playing a team like Lower last night, you really can't judge them off that. Lower's had
Lower's got low number. It's basically, for all intents and purposes, a Group 1 versus a Group 4.
Group 5 team.
Group 5, sorry, yeah.
So you have a big disparity from last night, but I think they're really going to put to the test this week against a 2-0 Vineland team coming up on next Friday. So we can easily tell if they're for real, if they can escape with a win next Friday night.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy game. They got to go to Vineland. Vineland's, like I said, they got 2 wins. They haven't really been lighting up the scoreboard. Pretty good defense. When you look at this Egg Harbor Township team, what really stands out to you? Is it the offense? Is it the defense?
Right now, it's the offense. I think Dante Moore is absolutely ridiculous. I've known the kid since my junior year when he was a freshman, and he got a little bit of varsity time towards the end of the year, and then he stepped up as the starting running back my senior year, which was he's only a young sophomore at that point,
right.
And maybe then he was a little bit more tentative, and he wasn't, still the big stage kind of got it. He was he saw bright lights and he's like a deer in the headlights look, but he stepped it up his sophomore year, but then. As last year progressed, he looked really good, and this year, I asked him last night. He must be eating or drinking something differently. He looks again against a smaller team in Lower last night, but against Atlantic City last week, he goes over 250 yards last week, and he was only given the ball 4 times last night. I heard Smitty and Stetson were going to limit his carries to maybe 10 last night. He carried the ball 4 times, and he scored 3 touchdowns last night.
Wow.
The one run, I believe it was the 21-yard run, which put him up 14-0 early in the first quarter. He reversed field, I think 3 times with a couple jump cuts, and he broke by 3 tackles. And
the kid is a heck of an athlete. I saw him.
He's really coming into his own.
Yeah, I saw him live against Atlantic City, and him and that offensive line really wore down the Vikings in the second half. And the things he can do when he gets to that second level, all he needs is a little crease, and when he gets to that second level, hits those linebackers, he's hard to tackle.
Extremely elusive, and he's got a lot more power to him now, so he can actually run some kids over, but he is still extremely elusive, and he can contend for one of the top backs in the Cape Atlantic League this year.
Oh, without a doubt. And you got David Rice making plays at quarterback. He's a senior who's kind of waited his turn.
Yeah, he's looking good now. He's got a good arm behind him. He threw 2 touchdowns last night. He had a nice little.
He throws a real nice deep ball, which is a good thing for Spencer LaSure. He can go up and get it.
Yeah, Spencer caught a nice pass. I think it was about a 15-yard route, and then he caught it, made a man miss, and then just ran. Actually, broke a couple tackles down the sideline later in the game and ended up scoring on a play. And Rice also threw one. His first one was actually to the senior tight end Seth Wagner, who's actually coming into his own as a really good tight end as well. He's got very soft hands, and he's low key elusive. He's low key elusive, and he's got a little bit of power to him. So he's actually one of those tight ends you wouldn't expect.
An elusive tight end, is that an oxymoron?
He can create some plays with his feet, which you wouldn't.
He's a little bit of a hybrid, almost like a tight end wide receiver type. He doesn't have that breakaway speed of a wideout, but he does, like you said, he does have the moves. You get him in space.
Yeah, definitely. Because obviously, no offense to him, but when you look at him, you wouldn't expect that he's going to be like one of those tight ends that can, catch a ball and run, about 20 extra yards downfield. But when he gets out into space, he's really good with his feet. He's got actually a nice stiff arm to him, so he can get you those extra yards in a tight spot.
We're talking with Nick Kosko, as a sophomore at Rutgers, former Egg Harbor Township football player. Now, I know you played your whole high school career, so you're up on these high school teams. It's a big interest to you. What are your impressions of the first couple weeks here? What's standing out to you in the Cape Atlantic League?
The big thing that came out to me from last week was the St. Augustine Prep win over St. Joe's, which I didn't expect at all. I figured St. Joe's would continue their dominance over this Cal American Conference, but the fact that the Prep was able to upset them last week at home and pretty thoroughly as well last week. I mean, the Prep looks like the team to beat right now in the Cape Atlantic League American Conference.
And I think the game of the week on ESPN Radio next week is going to be the Prep at Atlantic City. So Vikings they got to do some homework this week, and they got to get their ship turned around because they got one of the big boys coming into to their house.
Their quarterback Jose Tabora, he looks like the real deal. I mean, he's like, I think this is his third straight. It could be his third straight year starting at the quarterback position, and. Kyle Dobbins is really one of the unknown backs. He got some time at the end of last year, I believe, as a freshman in that game against Cedar Creek, and he really took it to the Pirates. Yeah, they're really at Cedar Creek. They're breeding him over there. Yeah, breeding the young guys over there.
What about Cedar Creek? Have you seen any of these guys play up close? Amir Mitchell, Bo Melton, some of these other guys, Kamir Harvey.
I've seen Amir Mitchell play up pretty close, and obviously the guy's a man among boys against everybody else. We scrimmaged when I played in high school. I think it was my junior year. We scrimmaged Cedar Creek when they were still young. They were still actually a young program then. I think that might have been the last year before they were fully eligible to field all 4 grades. So we scrimmaged them my junior year, and I think I think I saw his brother actually play when he was the quarterback. Damon Mitchell when he was the quarterback. I mean, obviously Yeah, they're obviously they're very similar. So I've seen athletes like that, and they're absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, a man among boys. Damon plays over at Arkansas D1 football down the SEC, and
Amir,
Amir's going to Michigan.
He's 6'2", 6'3", 215 pounds.
Yeah, the kid's unreal.
At the high school level, that's asking a lot for a 5'8" cornerback to try to go one-on-one with that kid.
Yeah, you have 5'8" corners running 5'2". This kid's 6'2", running about a 4'3", 40.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Going up and down the field.
How's your foray into radio going? I know you're getting some experience up there at Rutgers.
Yeah, pretty good. Just this past Tuesday was my second show in a row on WRSU up there. We talk a lot about Rutgers football. We get into NFL the second half of the show. Obviously this week was very once again tumultuous for the Rutgers football program up there. More suspensions, and now Coach Flood suspended 3 games. And if you get me going, I'll be talking for the next 2 hours on this subject again. It's absolutely ridiculous. But hopefully, they can somehow put these additional distractions behind them and get a win tonight at Penn State.
What's some of your advice for some high school athletes there out there now about the whole college experience? How much are you enjoying it? How tough is it to you're kind of on your own with your grades and everything like that, your classes, you're your own man now. How much different is that from 2 years ago when you were a high school senior?
Well, obviously you don't have your parents breathing down your neck to get your stuff done. You got to get to practice. You got to get up. So you have to kind of just get in a routine and stick to it when you're up there. Always get involved. If you're not involved, and if you do your assignment, if you're not involved and you end up doing your assignments, you're kind of just sitting there all day. So you get involved, and so you want to always keep yourself busy, but you want to manage your schedule pretty realistically, so you can get everything you want to do and everything you need to get done. You balance it out.
Well, I think you're kind of an example of a kid who a very small percentage of kids go on to play college athletics. You were a pretty good high school athlete, but now you're not playing college sports. Your competitive career, for the most part's over, but now you're still in the sports world. You're studying sports journalism, broadcast journalism, that kind of thing. How cool is that to be still involved with sports, even though you're not an athlete anymore?
Oh, I love it because especially now, joining the radio station this year, I'll actually be starting my own play-by-play calls. I'll start to be able to call some of these Rutgers games for whatever sport. As of right now, I still have to get board passed to do play-by-play, but towards the winter season, I'll be able to start doing play-by-play for basketball, go on road trips to other schools.
Oh, awesome.
Do play-by-play. If I get board passed, I can still do men's and women's soccer now, and then we also do play-by-play for Rutgers baseball. So, and it's Big Ten athletics. So you're going to get good competition. It's not like not like you're really playing in the Conference USA or the American Athletic Conference, where you don't see the really big time schools in all sports.
Real quick before we let you go, what you pick tonight Rutgers. Who they got? Penn State tonight?
It's at Penn State tonight.
At Penn State. You think they can hang with Penn State?
Well, I mean, first, I don't think Penn State is as good as they were last year. The offensive line for Penn State, in my opinion, is in shambles. Hackenberg is going to get pressured on that, especially the Rutgers front seven is still one of the tops in the Big Ten, despite the poor secondary. This might be one of those kind of games where they kind of circle the wagons. A lot of turmoil going on with that program. It could go one of either two ways. They could circle the wagons, or they could fall apart. It's definitely possible. I'm obviously attending there. I'm really hoping they can pull it out tonight. But I mean, I'll stick to my pick, as I said on Tuesday. We picked the game on Tuesday. I'm going to stick with Rutgers. I mean, obviously, some of my other colleagues pick Penn State. I mean, we'll see what happens. But I'm sticking with my good old Scarlet Knights, and hopefully we get out a win and try to put the distractions behind us.
Outstanding. Thanks for coming in the studio, Nick. Appreciate you stopping by.
Always
talking a little high school
Dave.
Football, a little college football.